Aladdin, released in 1992, was one of Disney's major successful animated films during the Disney Renaissance era of the 90s. All of these movies during the early half of the decade, with the exception of the criminally underrated Rescuers Down Under, saw a video game adaptation. Aladdin saw a release on the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo in late 1993. Unlike most games that see release on multiple consoles, these were independently developed. The Super NES version was developed by Capcom, and the Genesis version was developed by Virgin, which is the version that I'll be talking about specifically for this video. You play as Aladdin, following the goals of the movie. Find the magic lamp, do away with Jafar, get Princess Jasmine, and live happily ever after. It's a very linear, straightforward, side-scrolling platformer. You don't get a wide array of special weapons or anything like that, just a sword for short-range attacks, and apples, the most deadly fruit in the world, to throw at enemies for longer-range attacks. The apples are not infinite, and you only start with 10, but there are quite a few strewn about the levels, so unless you're a trigger-happy madman who exclusively throws apples, you shouldn't be running out of them very often, and it'll never be long before you find more. Dying does reset your apple count back to 10, but like I said, you should be able to find more quickly enough. A lot of the enemies also attack with short-range weapons mainly, if they even have weapons at all, so you shouldn't be too hesitant to be using your sword a lot of the time anyway. A lot of the levels don't even have boss battles, and some of the ones who do, you end up getting infinite apple refills anyway, so you generally don't have to save up a butt-ton of apples specifically for boss fights, although it does make it easier to not have to keep grabbing more. The game is also pretty generous with the amount of checkpoints and health refills. The checkpoints are represented by these blue lamps, and health refills are these blue hearts. Your hit points are represented by this trail of smoke coming out of the lamp, which I get, it's fitting and all, but it's also pretty vague since it's an unvalued meter that's doing a twisty-de-loopy. Other items you can acquire are these Abu and Genie tokens, which will allow you access to the bonus games between stages. The Abu bonus stage involves you running around slashing at shit that falls from the sky. The other bonus stage is basically press your luck. With each Genie token that you pick up throughout the stage, you'll get one spin of the wheel, with various items being rewarded to you. Although Jafar is essentially a whammy, you pick him, and the bonus round is over. Even if you have more tokens, you're boned. The good items you can get in this game are additional apples for your inventory, extra lives, or rubies. The rubies can be used if you run into this merchant, who is often tucked away in a hidden area somewhere. He'll sell you as much as you can carry with extra lives, indicated by this Aladdin icon worth 5 rubies, or wishes, which is really a continue if you run out of lives, worth 10 rubies. Aladdin has some sweet graphics and animation that represent their counterparts very well. The music is well produced, there's a good amount of variety in the stage designs, and they're based off of scenes from the movie. Plus the difficulty is fair, which can be toggled anyway with 3 different difficulty levels, as well as the controls in case you like your slash, jump, and apple buttons to be different. I will say though that sometimes the hit detection can be a little finicky, particularly with landing jumps, and the worst example of it comes in the 4th stage with these moving platforms that pop out of the wall. Look at this shit, you just fall right through it. Thankfully this doesn't happen that often, but when it does, specifically in this stage, it's enough to piss off a preacher. But in general, Aladdin is a fun, well-executed game that you don't need to be a fan of the series to enjoy, although you will like it more if you are. So the game starts out with a cutscene of Jafar discovering that Aladdin, a young homeless thief, is worthy of entering the Cave of Wonders, which houses the magic lamp that he seeks to take over the kingdom. The first stage is Agrabah Market. Jump over these hot coals and collect the apples along the way, and kill the guards here. They only attack short range intermittently, so they're not that hard to kill with your sword, but you can plow through them with your apples from long range if you want to be on the safe side. The second guard will walk into the coals and render himself useless, so feel free to just pass by him. This guy will juggle knives and toss them infinitely at you, so kill him with apples, or swipe them away with your sword on your way to do him in. Thankfully, he stands in one spot. Watch out for these dickheads tossing pots out the window. Wait for the opening to move on, and when you land on this camel, he'll spit something or other out, which comes in handy when killing this fat prick, who also tosses knives, but not as often as the juggler, so keep that in mind when taking him on more later on. You'll climb this rope and then hop across some platforms. When you land on this one, it'll fall, so move quickly. When you drop down here, kill the juggling knifesman, and head down the staircase for some rubies, a health heart, and a genie head. When you come across these baskets, be ready to swipe them, cause there's some dickhead inside trying to be sneaky. Give him a swipe once he starts moving. When you climb this rope, take out this juggling guard to get the genie head, and then go back right. Jump onto these poles to bounce your way upward, and veer your way backward here to get the Abu token. Soon after, you'll reach a shop. Buy what you'd like. A few more guards after that, and the stage is over. No boss. You'll get a cutscene where Aladdin meets up with a beggar who tells him about the Cave of Wonders, but he needs to find 2 halves of a magic scarab. The first of which is hidden in the desert, which is where the next stage is, and the game tells you to find the scarabs. There are 3 pieces total you need to find to make up the complete half of the scarab to finish the stage. First head back to get a few apples, and then as you move forward, you'll notice these swords poking out from under the sand. Jump over this shit. You'll encounter the snake that just walks back and forth in the same space. Kill him with an easy swipe, and then use the camel to kill the prick in front of you. Use your apples to kill these knife tossers, and jump over the gaps between the rocks, cause you'll fall into some spiky bones otherwise. When you get here, hop across these trees to get up here and scale across the vine. Drop down here, and there's a hidden ruby, genie head, and health heart. Edge up closely to kill this guard, and then scale across the bony spikes using this vine. Just be ready to swipe at Iago, who flies by. Drop down, scale this vine, and head this way, killing a few guards on your way up here to grab the first scarab. Then head back and down this way, and behind the pillar here is a hidden spot that will lift you up here somehow to an item shop. Then go back, hop up these rocks, killing the guards along the way, grab the genie head on your way down, and go back to get the second scarab. You're almost there now, just some swords on the ground, a snake, and a guard that Abu already took out for you. And the third and final scarab is up here, and you're done with the stage. You'll get a cutscene where the old fart tells you the other half of the scarab is in Agrabah, in the possession of a clever thief. Next up is the Agrabah rooftops. This time your mission is to find the flutes. Take out these guards, and use this pole to spring your way up here for the first flute. And speaking of flutes, there's a snake charmer right here. Give him a quick swipe before he can even get his snake up. Grab the rope that appears over the pot. These will only be summoned once you get the flute for it, so here's why the flutes are so vital. Drop down, and to the left is another flute behind this prick in the basket. There are 3 pots here. This first flute will take you up here, kill this guard with apples, grab the flute, and then take this rope up here with another guard guarding a flute. Take that one and ride the rope up here. Drop down here, kill the guards on your way to this rope that apparently doesn't require a flute, and toss apples at this juggling douchebag before advancing. Just make sure to stop in this little nook first and grab the health heart. Then swing down this line and immediately kill the knife thrower waiting for you at the end. Climb up here for a ruby, then kill this guard to go up this rope and you'll hit a checkpoint. Grab the flute and head down here to take the rope up this way. Hop over and slide down this pole. Grab the genie head, kill the juggling jackass, and bounce up these poles to get to the rope up here. Kill these pricks from underneath, continue upward, and bounce up here to scale the clothesline. This guard is a bit out of reach, but you can slip down this way to square up with him and take him out. Then take this rope up here for a heart, and leap over here to scale this clothesline, swiping Iago along your way. Then you'll come across a mini-boss, Kazim. He'll just throw knives at you. Swipe at him, and get him backed against the wall where you can easily swipe repeatedly until he's done for. or you can just chuck apples at him from a safe distance. Once you finish him off, grab the flute and head up the rope back here where you'll get another boss, Razul. He'll do his best Donkey Kong impression and toss barrels at you. Hop onto this platform, leap over the barrels, and toss apples his way. If you happen to run out, drop down here, and there'll be some down here that will always respawn when you're fresh out. But from here, you've got to avoid the barrels, so wait to jump over a barrel with each platform, maneuvering one at a time. After enough shots, you'll take him out and get a cutscene where Aladdin, who just found both halves of the scarab, is captured by guards. And despite the pleading from Princess Jasmine to release Aladdin, he's taken to the Sultan's dungeon anyway, and that's the location of the next stage. You'll meet bats early on. They don't do a lot of damage, but they have a sporadic flight pattern, and they seem to come out of nowhere, although you can spot them hanging out from above, but they blend into the darker background, so keep an eye out for these batsters. Also watch for these spikes that pop out of the wall. They're also a bit deceptive and look more like another part of the background. Wait for an opening to pass through, and the same for the swinging balls. Then you'll come across moving blocks that I'd mentioned earlier. They're kind of like the appearing blocks in Mega Man, but these you can actually see where they'll appear from thanks to the indentation in the wall, plus the full animation of them moving before they fully pop out of the wall. Plus, they follow very basic linear patterns. But what sucks is the shitty hit detection that I mentioned earlier. And it seems like this applies to specific blocks that have this problem. Thankfully though, this never happens over a death spot or anything, so it'll just frustrate you to have to climb all over again. Anyway, as you climb, you'll see this skeleton with a bomb. It'll blow itself up with its bones scattering all over. Keep your distance so you don't get hit with any of the debris, or if you're close enough, give him a swipe to kill him quickly and you won't have to worry about it. After you take out the first one you see, head back into the nook where he came from and grab the genie head before continuing your ascent. The stage is visually misleading a little bit. Some of the walls look more like chains you can climb or a random part of the foreground, but you're really moving through a tight space that veers up and across and down throughout most of the level. After hitting this checkpoint, there'll be another genie head and some moving blocks up this way. Kill the guard here, watch out for the bat, and climb up this chain to find a shop in the nook here. Don't bother slipping down here. The only thing you'll get for fighting this guard and risking health loss due to a spike in the wall are 4 apples. Fuck that. And climb up. Next to this checkpoint are more moving blocks, and this has one of those problem child blocks that don't want you to land on them for some reason. You'll only get a few apples up here, so go ahead if you have the patience. While taking on this guard here from below, watch out for the exploding skeleton. His bones can even get to you through the wall. When you get down here, there'll be a vertical row of spikes coming out of the wall. Pass through to get a health heart, and then continue right to follow the linear path. And after ascending a shit ton of these blocks and fending off more guards, you'll hit the exit of the stage and get a cutscene of the old fuck taking the scarab from you in exchange for the location of the Cave of Wonders, telling you to take only the lamp and that you'll be rewarded with treasure. You'll see Iago peering out of the beard of the old man, heavily implying that this is actually Jafar in disguise, although there's no official reveal of it at any point in the game. So next up is the Cave of Wonders, where the game tells you to hit statues. These plate-shaped rocks will be shot up from the spout underneath, letting you jump up to grab items, or reach higher places, like right here at the beginning. Grab onto these rocks and scale your way across. Drop down and hit the statue. The point of these are to open up access to the next area, like right here. This rock you jump on to get past the deadly water won't even show up if you don't hit the statue. Watch out for this annoying fish that pops out of the water. Slice him on your way over if he gets in your way. These statues you don't need to hit, but they do throw shit at you, so take them out. When you get to this dead end, scale across the rocks hanging from the ceiling. Swipe the bats that hang down, and climb this rope and hit the checkpoint. Use this plate rock to get you up here where you can get a couple health hearts and avoid some shit down below. Up here, there'll be a shit ton of rocks rolling towards you. Thankfully, they bounce pretty high, So position yourself where they'll bounce over you, and quickly get to the rope where you can get to an Abu token on the left, and then continue your path to the right. Slash away at these floating sperm spirits. They'll just kind of float around, and climb up here to get some more items below the ceiling. Right after that is another statue on the ground, and then after climbing this rope, there'll be another statue way off on the left. Jump across to hit that one, and it'll give you access to the shop up here. Right after that is the boss, the Shiva monkey. He'll spit fire at you, and then float across to his other station, swinging a sword with one of his other arms, and then teleport, sometimes switching to the other station, sometimes staying in the same one. If you give him a slice, he'll immediately teleport to the other side, and you can time it so that you just keep hitting him as soon as he pops back up, and just go back and forth without having to endure any of his attacks. If you ever line yourself up incorrectly and lose the rhythm, you can always get back on track while he's trying to attack you. After finishing him off, you're not quite done yet. Get on the carpet, grab the genie head and health hearts, and hit the checkpoint. Then hop across the rocks, slicing the fish along the way, and then when you get here, you'll have to climb up the wall. Rocks will roll towards you, so stay tight against the wall to minimize the amount of hits you'll take, and you'll reach the lamp and finish the stage. But you're not out of the Cave of Wonders yet, because Abu stole a treasure and broke the rule. The cave starts collapsing, and the next level is your escape out of it, and this level sucks ass. There are no checkpoints, and it's one-hit deaths out the yin-yang. After hopping across these rocks to get past the lava, you'll enter this tunnel and a boulder will start rolling towards you. Don't jump to get any of these items. It'll slow you down, and you really only have time to grab an item or two, so just run and leap immediately in the clearing. Hop across these rocks, and you'll get to another tunnel with a boulder. Once again, run Forrest run. This time though, there's a hole in the ground you'll need to jump over and let the boulder drop into. But right after that is another boulder with another hole, and finally a third boulder. This time though, you'll reach another clearing, but this time the rock platform seems to be too far out of reach. Turns out this rock that blends in with the lava in the background is actually an accessible platform, and you need to run to the edge of this to reach the rock. You'll see an extra life down below, which you'll want to shift yourself over to land on the rock. Don't just drop straight down. The rock will start sinking, so jump to the next one, which will also start to sink. But there is enough time to stop momentarily and grab the items above each one. You don't have to go this way. You can take the upper path, which is less dangerous, but there are less items. After that, you get a fork in the road. Taking the low path is another lineup of sinking rocks with items above each one, and the other is a fucking death trap with a boulder rolling to the opposite direction from all the others, so take the low road. After that is one more tunnel with a boulder. Once again, just run. Don't even try to grab the extra life. And you'll catch the magic carpet at the end, and the stage is over. So I know I made it sound simple, and once you get the rhythm down pat, it's easier to execute, but that trial and error period sucks. And even then, you've got a lot of long jumps, and all it takes is one poorly angled jump to send you into the lava, and it's back to the beginning of the stage. Remember, there are no checkpoints. No cutscene this time, it's straight onto the next stage, the rug ride, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's also even more annoying than the previous stage. The whole thing is an auto-scroller where you pick up apple slices. 4 of these will count as a full apple. And it's entirely setting you up for the next stage, because you won't throw any apples here. You'll just be picking up apples, sometimes extra lives, rubies, or genie heads. Despite the lava wave behind you, the one thing that'll kill you are the rocks that pop out in front of you. They pop up so fast, there's no way you'll be able to react in time, but you do get help from the genie, who points up or down, representing the direction you need to go, not the direction where the rock is. The speed ticks up as the level progresses, so while the lava wave is harmless, it does provide a valid reason for you to be flying faster. Sometimes you'll get fingers pointing in both directions, which means you can go either way. Try to get as high or as low as you can, just so you don't nick the edge. There are 2 spots where you'll get a question mark, and you have to fucking guess. But you don't have to guess after I tell you that in the first one you have to go up, and the second one you have to go down. and that will be the end of the stage. You get a text-based cutscene saying that the cave collapsed, trapping Aladdin, and he ends up getting sucked into the lamp after checking on it. So the next level is inside the fucking lamp, and because of this, the physics of the room are weird. Like when you're on one of these blue trails that I think are supposed to be the physical manifestation of the genie, you'll slip through like quicksand, but you can jump continuously to stay afloat. It's not a solid surface. Slip down here at the beginning for some apples, and bounce your way back up on these genie head springs. The arrows will keep you informed on where the right area to go next is. The stage is linear in the sense that it goes left to right, but there are certain weird ways to get there. Like when you're down there, climb up here, across these balloon things, and jump down onto these floating hand platforms. Make sure you land these jumps, cause it's a death pit below. Jump back up into here for some apples, and slip down here at the far right. Then you can slip down the next strand, but you want to center yourself so you don't fall into the pit. Bounce your way off this hidden genie spring, and follow the hand platforms upwards until you get to the balloon heads. You can slip down here for an optional genie head, just watch your step, and then you'll encounter some balloons that actually move. You'll need to take these across, so hop from balloon to balloon quickly so you don't fall behind. Just pay attention so you don't miss one of them, or it's into the pit you go. On your way across, get onto the hand platform to get to a shop on the right and an extra life on the left. Then slip down to take the balloons back across, this time continuing right. Then you'll bounce up a bunch of these springs. Follow them to the next rest stop. These genie hands will flick you back and forth. Scale the balloons this way, and then you've got a litany of hand platforms. There are 2 sections of these damn things which make up the final stretch of the level. What sucks is that these will shrink, making it nearly or sometimes downright impossible to use as platforms. If the platform you're on starts shrinking, obviously get off ASAP. If the one ahead of you shrinks and there's not enough time, but you also don't want to stay on the one that's about to shrink, retreat, regroup, and resume your path. When you get to the end, where the genie has his tongue red carpet draped out for you, you can slip down here for an extra life. Just watch your step as you spring back up. Enter the genie's mouth to end the stage. No boss battle. In fact, no enemies in the stage at all. It was entirely a test of not killing yourself. You'll get another text scene describing Aladdin having freed the genie from the lamp, who helps him escape the cave and move on to the palace to get Jasmine. So next up is the Sultan's palace, which is flooded because you've got water all around. Hop on these flamingos, wipe out the guards, and kill the fish in between as you unusually head right to left to start. Whip out the knife prick and take the carpet ride up here. Slash continuously so you can get Iago out of your way, and leap up to grab a heart as the carpet stops. Get onto this platform and leap to grab the rope and climb up, where after killing another guard, you'll land on another carpet. Slash continuously again so you can wipe out more Iagos. After another round of guards, you'll take another carpet where you're gonna want to once again slash like a madman. When you get off, hop across these platforms to the right and drop down to get a health heart and a genie head. You'll have to take the carpet back up again, but it's worth it. Then go left, kill Iago and the guard, and climb across the ceiling here, and take out another Iago. Kill this guard, jump into the cage to free Abu, who will free up an empty space up ahead. Drop into it, jump over the spikes, and enter the door to face off with Iago in a boss battle. He summons the spermy spirits with this huge-ass gear that he runs on. Stand on either side of him, keep some distance so the spirits don't hit you when they get summoned, jump, and toss apples at him. If you run out, head to the other side where you'll get some respawn refills. Keep this up until he's finished, and you'll get a cutscene showing that Jafar has stolen the lamp while you were distracted by Iago, and he plans on taking over the kingdom. So it's on to the final stage, Jafar's palace. You'll start out battling some guards, and when you get on this platform, it looks like there's nowhere to go, but really you can jump all the way across. This pillar is just part of the foreground. Be ready for these deceptive statues from earlier that pop up to life. and then time your jumps here to avoid the swinging balls as you pass the spikes. Watch the row of these swinging balls and maneuver your way through when they're all swinging away, and then you'll get another long line of them before you get onto another carpet. Slash away until the carpet ride ends, grab the health heart, and buy whatever you can at the item shop. You get a couple of these statues across from a bed of spikes. Take a swing when they throw their projectile to knock it back into them, and then jump across. After descending this rope, climb up the next one and grab the 2 health hearts. Down the stretch is a long line of guards with a carpet that takes you to Jafar, and the final battle begins. You'll stay in one spot in the middle of the room and use his staff to pull you in like a vacuum. Run to the far side to give yourself some distance and turn to fire a couple apples and then go back to running away again. If he pulls you in too close, it'll be harder to keep control of yourself and you'll probably end up taking a hit. If you run out of apples, run to the opposite side to get some respawning fruit. After dealing enough hits, you'll meet his second form, the Cobra version. Once again, he stays in one spot, but he unleashes waves of fire across the floor. They come in a very rhythmic pattern, so stay off to the side, jump over them, and each time you jump, unleash an apple. Stay off the raised platforms though. As soon as you stand on it, a flame will be summoned from underneath, and you have very little time to jump off unscathed, which you're gonna need to do if you're low on apples, because once you run out, you've gotta get the refills from the other side. Keep this going until you finally deal enough shots to take him out, and it's all over. You'll get a cutscene of Aladdin flying away with Jasmine on the carpet, and then they make out. And that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.